flip Tajani with Bombardment to control the board, and you assume the control role, and you use Wrath of the Skies to clear everything up. But I don't think that's like a terrific idea from the Boros side. So I would assume that there will be where enters brought in, cutting. I don't know what you really cut from Boros here, because all of your cards are obviously great. Ranger Captain of Eos doesn't seem that great. I think the clause of not being able to cast non-creature spells upon sacrificing is not that relevant in this matchup. But I can also see Voice of Victory being cut potentially, even though the band deck has a good deal of instants. So we'll see. Another card that Boros might bring in is Showdown of the Skulls. If you expect the game to go long, like it did in the game one, like it makes sense to have this ways of refueling. As far as band goes, I think the very old card in the sideboard is Hercules Recall. It's like the old printing of Hercules Recall, so I don't expect it to be brought in. It looks like there isn't much for Boros. The one
there's
Sun
that
Cleanser.
one Sun Cleanser in there, like, you know, can kind of shut down at least the energy that they can gain. But I don't know, like after watching the deck in action, it didn't feel like there was like these glaring weaknesses that we need to kind of shore up in this kind of post-board state.
And I assume that Benevolent River Spirit, which is a card just underneath Sun Cleanser, will be brought in as well. Just an Avatar Limited All-Star, another interesting addition to the deck. It's a 2-mana flying 4/5 with Ward 2.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a very impressive stat line. It also has an additional cost of Waterbend 5 or 6, I believe. I think 5. But with Birthing Ritual, you can circumvent that extra cost and just get a very threatening creature early on the battlefield. So it makes sense to. Oh, and I think we have Sun Cleanser in the opening hand from Carlo.
Wow. I mean, getting off at least, that's always nice too when you're sitting there and being like, okay, I've got this awesome sideboard card that I brought in, so let's be able to utilize that immediately in your opening hand is kind of that kind of maybe almost like a sigh of relief here when you're playing in the event there. So
yeah, but yeah, Giovanni's main deck with 3 Traben Charms. Once again, I'm gonna bring it up because aside from killing the namesake card of the ritual deck, it can also deal with Sun Cleanser even without access to energy, which will, I think, end up being a big deal in this game.
Oh, 100%. Like that's the thing. It's like the charms just have so much versatility, especially in the Boros energy deck, where you can be like, okay, what do I need to answer? Am I answering a creature? Am I answering your enchantments? But okay, Guide of Souls into our voice here. So voice can have a little bit of annoyance, basically saying, I know you want to try to utilize your counter spells and stuff like that, but you're not going to be able to utilize those on my turn here. And also generates at least some more threats and creatures to kind of swarm the board a little bit here with this when it gets to attack. So, you know, already kind of setting things up the way that you want to, I would say. Get a way to make energy, got a way to make creatures. Like we can really kind of start putting the pressure on Carlo here with this kind of first 2 turns as Giovanni's kind of set up with his Boros energy here. So what can Carlo do now? Like, I mean, we're assuming he's probably going to drop down like Sun Cleanser here. It's like a 1/4, so it's pretty hardy at least to kind of absorb some hits. But like, is that really where you want to be on turn 2? Just sort of tap out, play a creature, and hope that the kind of buildup of Boros is not too much on the following turn?
I think it makes sense to play Sun Cleanser. Like, if you expect or suspect so many Traben Charms from Giovanni's, then it's a bit more risky. But aside from that, there is no real answer to Sun Cleanser. And I think you're already on the back foot. Your opponent has 2 permanents in play, 2 creatures rather in play, and Guide of Souls with Voice of Victory just ramps up really fast. So I think playing Sun Cleanser is your best bet, even though it will sadly get charmed on Giovanni's turn, I think.
All right. So yeah, there we go. Clears off the energy there. So can't gain any more energy as long as Sun Cleanser is out onto the battlefield. But like you said, there's a lot of ways to be able to answer and respond to that. So we will see. And there is the Thraben chart in hand, but two Arena of Glory is just kind of set over to the side here. Uh, you know, that's the debate. It's like, do we just sort of like send a message and start sending creatures across? Do we kill this off? Like you, because it's dealing damage based off of your. Okay, here we go. We're
It's
firing it off now.
it's twice the number of your creatures, so it's exactly 4 damage. For Giovanni, and technically you can go to combat, get extra creatures, and ensure that even if one of your creatures gets dealt with, it can kill something. But in this spot, Giovanni has Voice of Victory, so there is no need to worry about anything.
Right?
Really.
Yeah, exactly. So no worry, no stress about that. Gain
Yeah.
some energy there, clear off, push for damage there, and drops Carlo to 12 there with that. So yeah, definitely this is like kind of the power of Boros energy of like when you have this kind of pressure going and it just sort of like foot on the pedal, we're just going full speed ahead with our game plan of aggro, and it's going to be kind of Carlo on the back foot and trying to kind of piece something together, get some stuff in the way here. But the Voice of Victory preventing stuff from being able to be cast on your opponent's turn definitely is a bit of a problem. But a nice little bit of a wall going to jump in the way here. Going to, of course, be able to scry off of that and maybe see if we can kind of piece up something for our following turns as well here. But any other creatures we got available? Because again, it's like we should play stuff on our first turn because there's nothing we can do on our opponent's turn. But Birthing Ritual, again, namesake of the deck, maybe be able to turn that into something. But
a
we
very
have plenty of
timely
energy.
Galvanic Discharge that also rewards Giovanni for playing the last turn as they did, because I've said that you can go to combat and ensure more damage, but also if you go to combat, you are missing out on extra energy from Guide of Souls because Sun Cleanser is still in play. And yeah, this way, Giovanni is very far ahead on the board, and Flooded Strand ensures double white in case you need to, in case you need that second white mana. And I think Giovanni has Ranger Captain of Eos in hand, so because of that, having second white mana is quite important.
Nice. And then we've got an Exerted Arena of Glory. So we're giving this a Johnny haste and we're going all the way in here with all of this. So making our token and going to be able to put a lot more pressure on Carlo and really drop his life total down. And also, look at this. 3 energy built up again, so we can be able to give something some flying, boost up the power as well. And here we go, sending the group across. And just, I guess, confirming there is like, all right, how bad is this going to be for me here? How much damage is actually coming across here? Voice of Victory is going to be our one getting the flying here, so pushing even more damage.
Yeah, I think it's 7 damage. So yeah, Carlo drops down from 11 to 4. And we have a certain trend going on with decks on the right side of the screen. They are not playing very well from behind, just like Blue-Black didn't. And only 5 cards in the graveyard. With a fetch land, Carlo can drop Oculus on this turn, but I don't think that's enough to stem the bleeding. Even with the Manifest, there will be just way too many attackers on Giovanni's side. And if Giovanni has another creature in hand, like I think they have, another Arena of Glory will be exerted. Unless it's a double white spell, then they can't. And just, I think it's way too much pressure for Carlo to handle, unfortunately. Especially that they are dropping down to 1 with this.
I was gonna say that
into
that
Stupor,
is a choice. Yeah. All right, so Volatile Storm Drake gonna come here and let's do a swap and say I would like your Voice of Victory, please, and you may have this. I'm gonna be utilizing my energy to do a trade here, but oh, okay. That I was like, so why did we need that life to do that? That's why here. Okay, we've got our Neoform, so we will be able to go and try to find not like our Oculus here. But then, like you mentioned, it's like that's
way too many attackers. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we do get to look though. Of course, at least do the birthing ritual thing. Take a look and go, okay, we clearly want our Oculus. It's the best card we've got. So let's see. Manifest the Dread. Take a look at those. Doing some surveillance. Basically, like you've as Giovanni, you kind of already know, right? We've talked about it. It's just the amount of pressure you've been able to put in game 2. So this is a really nice spot to be in here. But definitely a like you mentioned, playing from behind on the right hand side, it's been tough with these kind of flash decks, these like tempo based stuff, and now the team goes across, scooping it up here for Carlos. Giovanni would be tying things up 1-1 there with that series, but all right. So we're going to be getting in and shifting gears a little bit here. So we had a little bit of a deck check, if you will, after this, and confirm, because playing at a big event is one thing, and especially with the different lighting in an area, if you don't have the best sleeves, some of your double face cards can kind of become a little bit visible. So we did have a bit of a deck check there, and we did confirm that who was it? I believe the yellow
It was
sleeves.
Carlo, yeah.
Yep, Carlos. My assumption, sink into stupors that he had there
Yes.
were visible there. So we did get the game loss there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Unfortunately,
that is one of the things that happens. It especially if you're playing at your local event and you're used to having the yellow sleeves and you don't have any issues there because the lighting at your LGS might be a little bit different. You can't see the cards, but then when you go to a different event, like the lighting is different and yellow's not the best at blocking some of that light. So, he does have that option to be able to kind of go pick up new sleeves, be able to go into the next round and try to be able to have his deck sleeved up, ready to go for there. It's not like he's out of the tournament for that, but that is just one of those things that does end up happening there. So
definitely a bit unfortunate anytime that real life logistics gets in the way of determining the result of the match. But yeah, that's life, sadly, sometimes. And maybe a reminder to tone it down with the color of your sleeves. I just always go for black sleeves because they are almost never transparent. And in general, I would either use dual matte sleeves that have black interior anyways. And then you can go crazy with all the colors you like. But if they are not, then I would just suggest going for darker colors of sleeves. That just for your safety. If you are playing in your LGS, that's not that big of a deal. But if you are traveling for like a competitive big event, then that can be a cautionary tale for anybody in attendance.
Yeah, and Carlos, definitely is playing a very cool deck today. So I hope that he's able to kind of reset mentally from that, because that is another thing too that comes into like, oh, I got a game loss and it was all tied up there in the series. Like it was about to go to game 3, but now I have to kind of reset, re-sleeve, and get myself ready for the next set in the tournaments there. So, I think it was pretty good overall to be able to see both matches there on camera there. So, we're going to be doing a little bit of a break soon and kind of reset to get ready for round number 2 here. We're going to take a nice little 5-minute break to get stuff set up for round 2. We'll let you guys know when we get back for that.
Yep. Rooting for that Elves player to show up.
Yes.